Okay, one more DEIMS training event for you all. Today I'm gonna cover a little bit the PASTA service. This only applies for the US Long-Term Ecological Research Network DEIMS users. So if you're not a DEIMS user, you don't need to go through this pain. Ignore all the PASTA modules included in DEIMS. For those of you who are in DEIMS in the US, I'm going to cover a little bit what I've done recently to improve the PASTA module. All right, so there are many new things. I'm going to show you the new modules that that are related to the Pasta suite. All right, so we got a number of them. One very popular is the Get DOI from Pasta. So it's already enabled in this sandbox, and it does exactly what your intuition tells you. So it will allow an administrator to retrieve a DOI for a given data set from the Pasta clearinghouse and save it locally. I'm going to show you a demo. All this function is used through the administrative section. So for example, I have these one data set. It's called a test, and it has an EML associated with it, as you can see, but it doesn't have a DOI, right? So we can see the EML, and it's horrible, of course. It's not meant for humans, but it does have a revision ID, and it has just a little bit of the usual structure elements. Now, let's just say that I want to get the DOI from Pasta if there is one. So in this case, I use the bulk operations encoded here, and the one that module provides is called fetch DOI from Pasta. So select that one, click apply, and then confirm the step. The result should be that you get a DOI out of the clearinghouse, and here it is. So now, before you didn't have it, and now you have it. So that is one of many of the modules that I'm going to cover today. Now you saw that one. Other module that I think is going to be pretty useful for us in the US-LTER is the synchronization of the revision EML IDs with the Pasta system. All right. So for that, I have a few modules. I have just one module with two actions. The module is called Sync EML Revision ID. And again, it allows the administration to synchronize the dataset revision and EML revision ID. I tried to put a little help in this page. You read a little bit more about this particular module. All right, but instead of having you read it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo to you. All right, so let's just say that we have this EML ID, right? And right now we know that it's synchronized because we just got this particular DOI. But let's just say that we edit locally, and we change the abstract, and also maybe we include a URL. I don't know, like. And we added a few links. We just changed significantly the whole data set, so the information that is associated with it. We added a metadata provider. Let's just say that we add a publisher too. In this case, well, let's add Skynet, right? And that's my publisher. It's all fictitious. So here's the DOI that it was just retrieved from Pasta, and here's the EML version ID. If we set this to published, we know that the EML version ID is going to go from 2 to 3 or even more. Depends a little bit on the number of components. In this case, if I see the EML, I know that it already has increased by 3. But if we go to the dataset portal, all right, and I'm going to show it to you right now, and I'm going to refresh this, and I have this data set in Pasta. We know that in Pasta still is at version 2, right? So this is the Pasta identifier that has the ID and it has the version ID. So still the version ID is one less, and here is the case for this module. Imagine that you have done many edits locally, and now it's time for you to send this new version to Pasta. What you want to do is actually synchronize. Sometimes you don't want this data set to get the data set version to get a version too high. So if you have done many edits, okay, imagine that your data set, and I'm gonna do something a bit crazy, is 54, and you don't want that version to increase by that much, right? It shouldn't matter, but let's just say that you do care about that, and you want those to be synchronized. So you would hit the synchronize EML ID, and then you apply that and confirm, and it's going to go to the Pasta repo. It's gonna see the EML ID and it's gonna retrieve it. And so now the local EML, as you can see, it has the revision 2. Which means that if you were to edit this data set, the version ID is already changed back to 2. And so that's one thing. Now, watch out when you do that, okay? Because if you do change locally and your version, the local version corresponding to this DOI, it has changed significantly from the version in Pasta, you're kind of gaming the system. So just with caution. The actual use case that might be more useful to you is you already have made many changes in the local data set, but you want the revision ID to be that of the Pasta and then increment by 1. So I have this function that is called synchronize and increment EML ID. And what it does is going to take the version ID of the data set in Pasta and it's going to increase by 1. So now your local EML is going to have a version 3, which is one more to that of Pasta. And now you can submit that data set again to Pasta, knowing that they are incremental, the versions. So those are 2 of the modules. Like I already showed you what is called the get DOI. I show you the submit EML, and I have the synchronize EML. I have also a submit EML action, and I have a remove from Pasta action. So let's just say that you want to actually delete this data set, and there is this function that is called remove data set from Pasta. Now watch out. Once you remove it, that EML is that data set identifier is forever gone. That's how the Pasta would like to dictate their terms. So if the local identifiers for data set that you use and you decide matter, don't let that happen, because the Pasta will force you to change that. Anyway, in any case, it is what it is. If you select this data set, it won't remove it locally, but it would remove it. It would put a request to remove it from the repository. So if you do that, you can trigger the removal, and it's going to send a request to the remote repository to actually remove it. So if you go back to Pasta, and you see we were looking about the 6655, that was the data set, right? Look at that. Is 6655 was the identifier, and if you go now to Pasta, I refresh this page, and 6655 is now gone. It's no trace of it in Pasta. So that is another thing that you can do right now, right from this interface, from the administrative interface, which is accessed through the content datasets admin menu. What other operations do I have? So I have more modules. In addition to the get DOI and the remove from Pasta, the synchronize. So I already showed you the synchronize EML. and I'll also show you the remove data set from Pasta. I also have the submit EML. Now, as you can see, I have two modules. I have manual submit EML to Pasta, and then I also have the submit EML to Pasta on dataset save. So the difference between is with this one that is right now active, we initiate manually the submission. This is automatic. That is to say, when you are editing a data set and you are done and you hit the save button in the data set, automatically in the background enqueues the data set for submission. So I'm gonna demo the first one. This I'm still working on it. There might be a few kinks, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna show you this submit EML to Pasta. All right. So I'm going to go back here into my box, and then it's just that I'm gonna add a new data set, right? And well, what data set do I want to add? Well, let me see. See, it's just trying to thinking about the module for some reason. This is a development box. It's just very a humble PC. Wait a minute. I lost my screen for some reason. So I might not be able to demo this because I don't see my screen now. But let me quickly stop the broadcast. I don't know whether I'm gonna be able to stop it. See, my monitor went off. You can see the thing, but anyway, let me just stop it right here, and then you can follow this broadcast, the rest of the broadcast in a new video. All right. All right. Cool. All right. All right. I got one over there. Let me see if I. Okay. All right. So let's just